Alrighty, let's take a look at this question. So we are simplifying this exponential expression. So we need to remember all our exponent laws and the order in which we would do them, which would be basically BEDMAS. So we would look at first within brackets if there's anything that can be done, but our powers do not have the same base within the brackets. We have an x and a y as our base, so there's nothing to do within the brackets. Then we look at exponents, as in outside exponents, and we definitely have a couple outside exponents in the numerator. So that's going to be our first thing, is to apply that outside exponent. Now, when we apply that, we apply it to each factor inside. So -3, which currently has an exponent of 1, would also have that 2 applied to it. So it would become -3 to the exponent of 2. You multiply the exponents, 1 times 2. Then, same thing with the x to the 3, and then squared. So you multiply the exponents. 3 times 2 is 6. And then y to the -5. -5 times 2 is -10. All right, so that's that term, and then times, and we'll do it with the second one as well. So 2 basically has an invisible 1 exponent on it, so we multiply the exponent. 2 to the 1 times -2 would be -2. Do not try to evaluate those numbers, especially when they have negative exponents. We'll leave that to the end when we change exponents to positive. All right, and keep going. X to the 2 times -2 would be -4, and y has an invisible little exponent of 1, so we multiply that exponent 1 times -2 to get -2. All right, there's our numerator. Denominator, not much to do on this step. We'll just keep it. All right, next up, the numerator. So essentially when you have a big fraction, you want to try and simplify the numerator as much as you can and the denominator as much as you can, and then we'll look at dividing the two. Okay, now we can't really do anything with, well, actually -3 squared, we could write that as +9 because the exponent's a positive, so that's easy enough to evaluate. We have x to the 6, and this is all multiplied together, so we look for another power with a like base, x to the -4. So when you're multiplying powers, and they have the same base of x, you add the exponents. So 6 plus -4 would give us +2. So we have x to the exponent of +2. And then we do the same thing with the y, because y to the -10, y to the -2 is being multiplied. Therefore, we add the exponents. So -10 plus -2 would be -12. Oh, and there's that 2 to the -2, which I didn't write down, so I'm just going to put that in brackets like that. Not sure why I put the -2 outside the brackets. Let's just change that a minute. Okay, so there we go. And denominator is still the same. And now we can actually look at dividing the numerator by the denominator. Now the 9 and the 12, we could reduce that a little bit and divide out a 3. So 9 divided by 3 would be 3. 12 divided by 3 would be 4. Now with the x, we have x squared divided by x squared. Well, those are exactly the same, so we can just divide them to equal 1, as in that those two powers are now gone. And then we have y to the -12 divided by y to the 3. So when you're dividing powers, you would want to subtract the exponents. So -12 minus 3 would be -15. So that would now be y to the -15 in the numerator. And then we still have that 2 to the -2 tagging along. I will show you what we will do with that on the next step. Okay, and in the denominator, we only have a 4 left. Okay, so we've simplified as much as we can. There's no more dividing to do, there's no more multiplying. So now I would look at the negative exponents. And we're going to rewrite this so it does not have negative exponents anymore. And when you move a power from either numerator to denominator or vice versa, the exponent changes sign. So first of all, we'll leave the 3 where it is. We'll leave the 4 where it is because those are fine. No exponents on those. Y to the negative 15, if we move it to the denominator, will now become y to the positive 15. And same thing with the 2 to the negative 2. If we move that to the bottom, it now becomes 2 to the positive 2, which is what I was waiting for. Now we can evaluate that power. So 3 stays on top. We got 4y to the 15, and 2 squared is going to be 4. And now that we have that as a number, on the bottom we can multiply 4 times 4, which would be 16. So our answer would be 3 over 16 y to the 15. And there we go. That's how you do it. Hope that helped.